Johanna Luna here with Spotlight Radio. I'm very pleased to announce we have Colin Alexander on the phone all the way from Whitehorse, Yukon. How you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good, good. Let's talk about your art. So, word in the street, you're known as the artist of the shadows. Let's talk about your journey as a painter, as an artist, and how it all started for you. Let's talk about that.
All right. I guess it started when I was a little kid. I was always the guy who was obsessively drawing comic books and art books. I always had my nose stuck in them. But like a lot of people, I always believed and was told that it's not something you could make a living at. So when I left home at 18, I got a job in a lumber store. But I could only really hack it for about a year because I kept going back to the art. And one year I took a vacation in Ireland. And that 2 weeks turned into 2 years of just drawing portraits on the streets around Europe.
Oh, wow.
And
Fabulous.
that's really where I came into my own artistically.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. You went to Ireland for 2 years, eh? How was it experience?
That was probably one of the most amazing things that ever happened to me. I started doing, like I say, street portraits one day, and I had such a knack for it. And it did well financially, too, so I was able to support myself. That I used Ireland as a base to explore Paris and bits of Spain. I saw Goya in the museums, the Prada Museum. I went to Holland and saw Van Gogh in the Rijksmuseum, Van Gogh.
Wow, that's
It's a real
impressive.
eye-opener. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
quite impressive. A Canuck everywhere in Ireland and Spain, you name it. That's amazing. Let's talk about like growing back on your journey, right? Who did you used to look up to professionally to get inspiration and how to be an amazing painter?
The first people that I really noticed, other than the comic books that I was telling you about, is Rembrandt.
Mm-hmm.
Rembrandt and Vermeer and some of the Dutch masters. Something about them really touched me. Modern artists that I look up to and they're kind of inspiring me now are people like Banksy, some of the street artists who are doing some really wild stuff over in London right now, actually.
Wow, that's fantastic. So now you're living in Yukon in one of Canada's hidden gems. I love it. I was living there last year and I heard all about you and I heard your art is pretty much everywhere in Yukon. Well, in Whitehorse and everywhere. Anyone who can purchase your art, it's beautiful. Like if you had to describe it in 3 to 5 words, how would you describe it to our listeners here with Spotlight Radio?
Well, first of all, I thank you for the compliment. I appreciate you noticing my work, and it's hard to encapsulate in 3 to 5 words, but I think I'm trying to uplift people through depicting the human figure.
Wow, that's great.
Ultimately, I want to inspire people and touch them in some way, maybe make them feel something about their humanity or just move them in some way.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So you're right now a resident of Yukon. So let's talk about, right now there's a studio, I believe, inside Triple J's, where some of your artwork is actually being featured. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've got a show up there of tattoo and piercing-related artwork, and I also did a really big mural for them in the waiting room. So the whole place is kind of covered in my art. But they've also got a lot of great graffiti artists and other artists up there too. It makes a really nice eclectic modern mix, I think.
And that's fantastic.
A really wonderful job, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like when I popped in there, I was mesmerized. I was like, I feel like I don't know, I just felt so inspired. It's such a beautiful, there's such different shapes, different artists, different inspirations, different colors, different textures. So I want to know a little more about, your inspiration now living in the Yukon. There's a lot of gorgeous scenes in Yukon, like such beautiful scenery. You get to experience the Aurora Borealis in the winter. You get to experience Sourdough, which is a fabulous festival. It's like the Mardi Gras of Canada. Like, where do you actually, looking back on your journey, like as a kid and now looking back as an adult right now, if you had to give a piece of it, like one piece of advice to someone who wants to break it in the scene as an artist, what would you tell that young person?
I would say to ignore all the conventional advice, all the criticism, and kind of depressing negative anecdotes that people put out there, and just absolutely follow your heart. Worry about the money coming later, and just express whatever it is inside you that you have to say, and to do it now, not to wait, but to seize the day.
So, Colin, let's talk about giving back to the community in Whitehorse. How are you affiliated with any not for profit organizations? And tell me, what does it mean to you by giving back?
Well, it means a lot. Whitehorse helped me with the mural commissions in the beginning to kind of get my artistic feet on the ground. And now that my paintings are doing all right, I like to do murals as a donation, as a gift back to the community. So I've started a program that I call the Carpe Diem program, or Seize the Day program. And it's just something that I'm doing with my wife, Krista. We're not necessarily affiliated or funded by anyone. It's just the main principles are to seize the day. Number 2, to be the change that you want to see. And 3rd, to inspire others with the spark of art.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much, eh?